Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Let's freaking go, folks. It is happening. I'm constantly questioning myself. Am I overestimating the trend? Am I seeing things clearly? Am I jumping to conclusions too quickly? In your analysis, you try to be as unbiased as possible, but to a certain extent, it's kind of hard. In some way, in some shape, in some form, you're going to have some sort of bias tendency. And so sometimes, I question, is it all copium or is it really happening? Well, my general litmus test is how much is the leftist mainstream media panicking? The more panic, the more copium. Well, probably the better things are going on the political side of, basic common sense. Folks, I'm going to simply end this little intro by saying it's coming. It's happening. At least right now, based on the current state of data. Cue the outrage. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So like I've been saying, key states, battleground states. Everyone wants to look at the big number. Joe Biden's up by 2. Donald Trump's up by 1. Joe Biden's up by 4. Oh, very spooky stuff. The popular vote means almost nothing. Well, it means pretty much nothing if it's anywhere close to the margin of error. What does matter, however, are key swing states. And on this front, it seems like Trump is just doing better and better and better. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that, and what is causing leftoids to descend into complete madness and panic.
It's September. That means that the primaries are just a few months away. We've gotten through kind of the heat of the summer, and we're going to take a look at where the races look, where they stand today. First, the national GOP primary, you can see, as you were just mentioning, this YouGov Economist poll just came out. Donald Trump now breaking 50% in that poll against all of his rivals. And so it does look like we're going to see, at least at this point, a Trump versus Biden rematch. Take a look at where the head-to-head stands today. Again, a YouGov Economist poll within the margin of error. And this is one of these things that we have seen over and over the last number of months, whether it's Biden slightly ahead or Trump slightly ahead. This is a horse race, folks, and we're going to continue to be following these polls and the trends as we go into the fall and into the primaries here at Newsmax. Take a look at one that came out in early August in Arizona, key swing state. You see Donald Trump up by 2. He just barely lost the state in 2020. He's up by 2, but again, within the margin of error. Let's go over to Georgia. This one's a little bit older of a poll, but it's important. Now we're going to see the show trial of the century in Georgia unfold potentially over these next number of months. Is this number going to move? Donald Trump ahead by 4 points in this poll in early June, but it was before that fourth indictment. Keep an eye on Georgia. We'll be following the trends there. On over to Michigan. Again, within 1 point, this is a key state, but a state where Donald Trump seems to be holding his own after the loss there in 2020. And this is still a toss-up. Over to New Hampshire. New Hampshire, you got a lot of folks moving from Massachusetts up into New Hampshire over the last few years. That looks like it could be impacting almost permanently the electorate there and how they handle these presidential contests. Joe Biden up in this poll from earlier in August. Pretty significantly. And then one more really key state, Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is sort of the granddaddy of the swing states in many respects. Trump ahead there by 2 points, a Franklin and Marshall poll from a couple of weeks back. And again, what you got to start looking at is whether or not, Trump is capable of winning those suburban votes outside of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh that could give him an opportunity to win that state. That's a must-win state for Republicans nationally. And I'm going to give you one more, and this is the generic ballot. There's no good news in here for anybody, guys. There's a tie here, and especially for Republicans who control the House, this is a sign that maybe what they're doing isn't resonating with the public. A generic ballot tie right here.
Folks, look at the important states. Trump is supposedly, according to this polling data, leading in Arizona, leading in Georgia, leading in Pennsylvania, and neck statistically tied in Michigan. As CNN's polling analyst said last week, He said very clearly to CNN viewers, which obviously are mostly Democrats, to essentially not underestimate Trump's ability to get elected or his electability.
The largest lead for Joe Biden is just 3 points within the margin of error. No clear leader. Look at these. 1 point, 1 point. If you go back at where we were at this point 4 years ago, Joe Biden's lead was high single digits to low double digits. This is significantly closer than where we were 4 years ago. So this idea that Donald Trump can't win the general election, I want you to lose that idea. This race is very, very close, and Donald Trump is polling better right now than basically at any point during the entire 2020 cycle.
After 4 indictments.
After 4 indictments. It just doesn't really seem to matter.
That's fascinating.
The quote specifically was, this idea that Donald Trump can't win the general election, I want you to lose that idea. This race is very, very close. But not only is it close, but I'd say it's quite favorable to Donald Trump. If anything, Trump right now is the favored candidate. If we take the last 6 polls, Trump is leading significantly, even in the latest Wall Street Journal and YouGov polls, which aren't exactly Trump-favored polls. If this polling data is even slightly accurate, it signifies one thing and one thing alone, that if the election were held today, Donald Trump would win in a landslide. Of course, barring any last-minute changes to the system itself. That is simply a fact of where we are right now. And look, like I said in the intro, that's not my bias speaking, and I know that because it's not just me saying it. Here's Donna Brazile at ABC This Week. Donna Brazile, of course, being a Democrat heavy hitter, the former chairwoman of the Democrat National Committee. Here she is sounding the alarm in relation to the most recent Trump bump, let's call it.
The question I asked Tim Kaine towards the end there, it is kind of shocking in a way that despite all of the baggage that Donald Trump carries, he's tied with Joe Biden right now.
Yeah, I mean, George, when I looked at that recent poll, the Wall Street Journal, I said, oh, this could keep me up at night. Look, the problem is, and the biggest challenge we face as Democrats, I say we because I'm a Democrat, is that young voters, young Black and Latino voters, they're not ready to come back to the party. They're not even looking at the so-called messaging that's being sent to them about the economy, about climate change, about student debt relief. They are worried about their future, and right now they're looking for a leader who represents their values and their vision. And I think the president's campaign is going to have to really, go deep and go hard to motivate those voters to come back within the Democratic Party coalition, because without them, it is a tight race, and it's going to come down to 4 states.
And Susan,
well, you heard it from her and not from me. This is unlike anything she has ever seen, and she essentially makes the point that it's a historical political movement, and a massive one at that. And she is right. 100% exactly what it is. That's what's happening. And they were warned. First of all, don't mess with Trump, but most importantly, don't mess with the election or perceived fair nature of elections. Because obviously, if you feed into that narrative, you feed into Trump's most powerful talking point, his #1 marketing shtick. You basically justify the claims to a lot of people who might have been skeptical. Yeah, not exactly a great idea in terms of political strategy from my purview. I don't know, like I keep saying, I'm hoping these indictments, this continued nonsense witch hunt, is all going to turn out to be one massive political miscalculation. Currently, I'm getting the feeling that that's kind of the territory that we're in. That's what it feels like. Although, of course, it's very hard to make predictions in this new age where it seems like literally anything can happen. But as of right now, in terms of public sentiment and polling data, and of course, sheer Democrat panic, it's not exactly looking good for the vote blue no matter who blue anon faction. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. You know that we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.